About Jay-Z's album?
I think it's genius. I mean, like all of his projects, I thought it was really good.
Jay-Z new video with Nas and DJ Khaled is a scene where it's checkerboards. These are all occult.
The music industry was rocked by that event. When the decision was made, there was an instantaneous response, even though few anticipated it. Remir, a man who has long maintained that he is Jay-Z's biological son, won a significant court case. The $1.66 billion award was astounding. This was not a confidential settlement, nor a deal reached behind closed doors. It was a court-ordered ruling that could have an impact on everything from Roc Nation's streaming rights to tour earnings. According to reports, Beyoncé, who is frequently regarded a representation of precision and control, has been significantly impacted by the decision. The verdict raises many issues about the future of Roc Nation and how this decision will affect the careers, money, and public image of individuals involved. According to sources, she is going about her daily activities while maintaining a level of controlled concern. Both industry experts and fans are eagerly awaiting the next development.
Felonies, I'm not crazy or none of that. It's like, I just want the truth, and it's so hard to get it from the courts. And seems like Jay-Z don't want to say anything, so, I don't want to see him go down for something that, you could have just got taken care of. That's it.
Jay-Z has been able to avoid the problem for years. He has evaded DNA tests, denied the allegations, and maintained his reputation as one of the most inviolable people in music. Remir's court victory altered everything, yet the charges frequently sounded like background noise that never penetrated the wall of control he had established around himself. This isn't merely another rumor or filing. This ruling removes the protection Jay-Z has depended on for so long and directly puts pressure on him. It is hard to overlook the situation because of the ruling, even for someone with Jay-Z's level of wealth. A $1.6 billion payout is not insignificant. It's not the sort of money that just vanishes. Time is now a concern. This degree of financial damage could have serious repercussions, including asset sales, broken brand alliances, and anxious investors reevaluating their investments. The situation gains weight with each day that passes without a resolution. It damages his reputation and casts doubt on the stability of what he has achieved the longer it persists.
Beyonce for sure. I love her. I love Beyonce. Jay-Z too, I really admire the both.
Then there is Beyonce, whose whole career has been built on control, discipline, and accuracy. She's maintained an almost flawless public persona, shielded from the cacophony of rumors. However, her marriage is currently in the midst of a crisis that even she is unable to completely handle. Rumor has it that she has already made a private ultimatum. The ultimatum is straightforward but strong. Settle this matter before it gets out of hand or jeopardize everything they have worked so hard to achieve as a marriage. The strain is now personal as well as financial. It is impossible to calculate at this moment. Jay-Z has faced numerous public issues, but Beyoncé has supported him through them. This isn't a passing controversy or online gossip. The most challenging aspect would be the nature of the accusations. It is a recorded court ruling that has both financial and ethical significance. The matter is more than just a financial dispute because they go back decades to when Remir's mother was a minor. It turns into a test of morality and reputation that has long-term effects. How would a family respond to such a headline? How can a billion-dollar ruling related to these accusations be used as the setting for a global tour? It is nearly impossible to reconcile the obvious disparity between their brand and this reality. For Beyoncé, the issue extends beyond stages and cameras. At the heart of this storm are three youngsters. Protecting kids from the inevitable inquiries and rumors at school turns into a challenge that no parent wants to undertake. Every unresolved issue heightens the quiet, and every headline draws their names nearer to the mayhem. Their families. Stability is now linked to one of the most public scandals in music history, making it more than simply a personal issue.
No, that was it. No, when I get nervous, I tell the truth.
Rumor has it that discreet calls to well-known divorce lawyers are being made. The discussions are exploratory and discreet, but they are important enough to sustain the rumors. These are the kinds of conversations that, once initiated, hardly end without repercussions. Additionally, it appears that Beyoncé loses time. Defending her story with every court delay, Jay-Z's legal team wins. According to reports, her inner circle worries that the harm is already being done. Talks about endorsements have slowed or even stopped, and luxury partners are reportedly keeping a close eye on things. The currency of business in her world is optics, and those optics are currently displaying fractures. This degree of scrutiny is unsettling for someone who has created a perfect brand. This is made even more difficult by the potential for a fresh round of claims. In addition to validating his experience, Rumir's court triumph may pave the way for others who have been marginalized for a long time. Ledem Sir, a Maryland lady who has long claimed to be Jay-Z's daughter, is one name that keeps coming up. Her story has long been buried in the background, never getting more attention than rumors and fleeting headlines. The allegations were mostly dismissed, and Jay-Z has never publicly acknowledged her. However, Rumir's triumph alters that view, demonstrating that tenacity in court may compel even the most powerful to respond. Nasir single quotes S story is strengthened by her background. She has talked about how everyone in the little village where she grew up reportedly murmured about who her father was. She talked about her mother's struggles with a serious illness and how she had to raise her brothers while keeping a secret that no one wanted to discuss in public. According to reports, her camp is now feeling more confident. She might perceive an opportunity to do the same, as Rumir has broken past the legal barrier that previously appeared insurmountable. The timing couldn't be more precarious for Jay-Z. If she decides to pursue her case, he might be facing the start of several paternity disputes rather than a single ruling to close the book. In the public eye, it would be nearly hard to control. Two distinct accusations that are both connected to decades-old complaints. It might start a domino effect that has no end in sight for a man whose empire rests on his reputation.
A lot of potential. Jay was more quiet. But I mean, I learned that Jay was being quiet because he was taking notes. He was taking notes, observing everything, taking it all in. Because, sometimes you're around and you're watching to see things to do. But some people are around.
The allegations made against Ledem Mazur's former friend are much more concerning. This story claims that Jay-Z bought her a house in Cambridge, Maryland, and has been discreetly paying her bills for years. They assert that the agreement has stringent requirements, such as prohibiting the display of his picture within her house. Although these charges have been made before, they have never been supported by evidence. Jay-Z has chosen to remain silent in order to avoid confronting the accusations head-on. However, with Rumir's legal triumph, that silence might not last. Now, every unresolved accusation has the potential to appear more like avoidance than denial. Ignoring the claims could worsen the harm in a public setting where perception can be just as harmful as evidence. Mazur may face serious repercussions if he chooses to proceed and disclose fresh information. She's more to show, more to say, and more to prove than has ever been made public, according to several in her group. The tale might swiftly change from one of a reluctant father to one of serial denial if that knowledge were revealed. This change in perspective would be more devastating than a personal scandal. It would damage Jay-Z's standing as a public personality who has long been regarded as a cultural leader, entrepreneur, and role model. The consequences could affect both reputation and revenue streams for an artist whose influence is based on both music and business credibility.
Don't get no what you got in your head, that neural link. You'll never outthink me.
Jay-Z's empire is becoming harder to ignore due to its instability. Control, influence, and credibility are the cornerstones of the image that ROC Nation, Tidal, and DS Cognac rely on. The confidence that holds those endeavors together starts to wane without that foundation. Stability, not scandal, is what attracts business partners. Furthermore, Jay-Z has currently come to represent ambiguity. Every accusation connected to previous interactions with minors and every affiliation with divisive personalities erodes the confidence that sustains his business network. Even more precarious than his is Beyoncé's position. In addition to being his spouse, she's a well-known worldwide brand in her own right, driving fashion, movies, fragrances, and tours. Since her reputation has been based on perfection and discipline, scandal by association is unlikely. Maintaining a public alliance with Jay-Z during a protracted legal battle may weaken the very brand power that drives her business, she runs. The risk of being perceived as leaving him in the midst of mayhem, though. If she leaves too soon, it is said that this balancing act has reached its limit. Those close to her say she is running out of patience. All of the options available to her are expensive, but the price of doing nothing could be the greatest. Her name might be linked to a story that she has no control over if she keeps standing by him without finding a solution. And it might be the worst danger of all for someone whose career has depended on controlling the story.
What's up, what's up? This is Beyonce on the red carpet with one of the hottest female artists out here, Miss Aaliyah. How you doing, girl?
It's so good to see you.
At this time, it becomes more difficult to distinguish between one's personal life and professional image. The stakes are raised by the potential for Letta and Ramir to advance their claims concurrently. In the event that their legal claims are overlapping, this could lead to confusion and further public attention. Every witness, record, or statement that comes to light would give the narrative a new dimension. Every day it's more about the headlines and less about personal affairs. It would be nearly impossible to avoid the transition from court battle to public narrative. This poses a different kind of issue for Beyonce. Although her image for control and discipline is linked to her public appearances, even minor inquiries made at events can have a significant impact. According to those close to her, the frequent backstage discussions have caused her to carefully contemplate her future course of action. Her marriage is not the only issue. Her decisions also have an impact on her status as a mother and a globally recognized person. There are hazards associated with each option, and waiting too long may increase those risks. She is now under pressure to maintain the equilibrium she has always maintained. In the past, the couple presented themselves as impenetrable and served as a symbol of togetherness and strength in the music industry. Now, overlapping legal conflicts and increased scrutiny of their personal lives are putting that same image to the test. The public's perception of the cases may drastically change as they proceed and fresh information becomes available. What was once thought to be strong and unbreakable may start to appear brittle. The narrative may shift from awe to caution far sooner than anticipated if the tension increases.
This is what I look for. When I see a success, I'm looking for anything
to say that they didn't do it on their own?
Yeah, the taint.
And in the background, the sense of inevitable events continues to grow. Jay-Z has been using legal strategies and a capable defense team to shield some aspects of his history for years. In circumstances when others would not have been as lucky, that strategy has enabled him to evade direct accountability. However, the burden of continuous litigation and public scrutiny makes it more difficult to keep those same doors closed. A menace that appeared far away is now getting closer. Every case increases the pressure and reduces his options. The music industry and public opinion do not function in the same way as courts, and the mystery surrounding celebrities has minimal bearing on the evidence and verdicts that are presented. Ramir's recent triumph has already demonstrated that Jay-Z's defense is not without flaws. Not only did that billion-dollar result garner media attention, but it also showed others that perseverance might pay off. The possibility that previous accusations could reappear is now more significant than ever. Now, there's a possibility for a new battle for each silent dismissal. How many more will he be able to handle?
I think that they don't want, if they was in any of those freak-off tapes, if they played a part in any of those Diddy sessions, they don't want it to get out to the general public to make.
And just the figures are startling, and that's just the beginning. A judgment of $1.6 billion is more than just another expense. It strikes at the very center of Jay-Z's enterprise like a wrecking ball. The publishing company, sports sector, and artist roster of Roc Nation are all impacted by this financial uncertainty. Even seasoned partners will be reconsidering their stances. The pressure affects every aspect of the company, not just one. It is more harder to control the situation when it reaches that extent. The consequences could be severe if the full payment is enforced. It might be necessary to sell significant assets rapidly in order to avoid the verdict. This covers his ownership of Tidal in addition to his stakes in high-end drinks and other businesses. Giving up precious stakes for significantly less than their value is a common consequence of fire sales. The harm is not just monetary, it also affects one's reputation. The sense of control tends to diminish as these sales commence. The loss of money alone may not be as harmful as that change. It's difficult to ignore the spectacle of a magnate rushing to liquidate. Panic can spread quickly in a field where confidence is key. To reduce risk, business partners may put some distance between them. As they wait to see if the empire holds or breaks even more, investors may begin to withdraw. These actions generate momentum that is hard to undo. Every action made under duress will be carefully scrutinized, and even minor choices have far-reaching effects in that setting.
This morning, rap mogul Jay-Z is denying allegations he assaulted a 13-year-old girl alongside rapper Sean Diddy Combs. That civil lawsuit filed against Combs in October was amended Sunday to include Jay-Z. The accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, says she was assaulted by both.
Quiet conversations have already started in exclusive salons and high-rise offices where big deals are made. Marketing staff are trying to eliminate Jay-Z's image from future promotions, and investors are having urgent meetings. Even a combined release has been postponed till further notice by one luxury brand. These actions demonstrate how fast business partners respond when a name is ambiguous. At this stage, the issue isn't only one of legal guilt or innocence. Association and its impact on corporate relationships are the true problem. Even the slightest rumor has the power to upend an industry that is based on reputation and image. In order to prevent such repercussions, partners frequently separate early. Repairing the issue becomes more challenging every day that the verdict remains unresolved. The sense of instability intensifies and the uncertainty persists. Regardless of the real result, it is more difficult to change once that perception is established. Jay-Z is currently facing this difficulty in preserving his reputation.
There are people who did short sales on their stocks right after that, made a lot of money, including Sean Carter. Now I'm going to ask you, why would non-disclosure agreements need to be signed for an accident?
Even more disturbing is the speed with which the story of secret children has been resurrected by a single courtroom loss. People are not viewing Ramir's victory in a vacuum. Rather, they perceive it as the first fracture in a dam that has been strained for years. As a result of that change, the past is being examined with renewed vigor and old tales are coming to light. The tale of Letitia Mayer is one that is receiving more attention. After being ignored for years, her claims are now coming back with new vigor. Those who remember her predicament remember the relatives who supposedly put her mother in touch with Jay-Z. Her small town's rumors never completely vanished. More people are speaking up on social media than ever before, with many claiming Letitia has been silent for far too long. Speculation regarding her next course of action is being fueled by such pressure. The timing might work against her if she takes her case to court with the same tenacity Ramir shown. It might be hard for Jay-Z to control the fallout.
I know so much on how you got where you are, how you stepped on many people.
Now, industry insiders are posing the awkward query. Is it possible that there will be other claims if there are currently two? Other accusations have come up in gossip columns throughout the years, but they were promptly dismissed. They vanished without much notice at the time. Recent events, however, have changed the picture. With a billion-dollar verdict now officially part of the public record, old rumors are being re-examined. Stories once dismissed are suddenly gaining new relevance. People are reconsidering what was previously disregarded because of the altered climate. The way that the past is currently interpreted is shaped by perception. One detail fueling the speculation is the refusal to take a DNA test. What once seemed like a common celebrity decision for privacy now appears suspicious. To many, it looks like resistance to the truth. Each no comment only adds to the sense that more claims could still surface.
And we may actually see one of the biggest divorces in Hollywood is because Jay-Z is up next to be exposed.
The personal strain is becoming harder to ignore. Those close to the Carters describe a household under pressure, with schedules constantly adjusted and public appearances kept to a minimum. The atmosphere feels like one of ongoing damage control. Beyoncé's team, known for their precision in managing her image, are reportedly stretched thin. Their focus now is on shielding her brand from the fallout as the paternity stories continue to circulate. the public conversation shifts away from music and artistry. Instead, attention turns toward a complicated legacy filled with unanswered questions. For someone like Jay-Z, who has built an identity on control and untouchability, this is a troubling development. He has always decided what parts of his story to reveal, keeping the rest protected by legal barriers. Now, those barriers are being forced open not by industry rivals, but by people making personal claims tied to his bloodline. Once the public starts to believe there is a pattern, it becomes nearly impossible to change that perception. This overlap of financial vulnerability and reputational damage makes the storm especially dangerous. Losing one is recoverable, losing both is far harder. The risk becomes clearer when imagining the headlines. If Jay-Z is scrambling to manage a billion-dollar judgment and another lawsuit from an alleged child emerges, the effect could be devastating. Each new claim would add weight, and the media would begin linking past rumors to present realities. The momentum could quickly build beyond his control. In that scenario, it would resemble a slow-motion collapse, the kind even the best publicists couldn't reframe into a redemption story. Each development would feed the idea of a pattern, eroding trust in his carefully managed image. For someone who has long shaped his narrative, the unraveling would strike at the core of his legacy.
To take responsibility for what he did as an individual. Sean is the one who pulled that gun out. Sean is the one who shot. So he has to take responsibility for...
Even longtime allies who stood by him during past controversies now appear hesitant to remain close. His ties to other embattled figures in the entertainment industry are drawing fresh attention. While no direct connection has been proven in certain situations, the associations alone raise concern. For cautious partners, even the perception of risk is enough reason to distance themselves. Each day without a clear and confident public response gives rivals and critics more room to define the story. Across Hollywood, the situation has quietly become a test of loyalty. Some of Jay-Z's oldest collaborators are choosing silence, watching from a distance rather than defending him. Their hesitation reflects how fragile public alliances can be. Since Ramir's court victory, the silence from certain figures has been especially noticeable. Kanye West, whose relationship with Jay-Z has shifted between brotherhood and rivalry, has avoided speaking out. Rihanna, one of ROC Nation's most successful artists, has also chosen not to acknowledge the situation. Even indirectly. The absence of statements from these high-profile names speaks volumes. Their silence isn't simply about avoiding gossip, it's about steering clear of unpredictable fallout. Publicly attaching themselves to the controversy could expose them to the same scrutiny. In an industry built on reputation, silence often speaks louder than words.
As far as, is he going to turn people in? Is he going to cooperate? If the federal government wants him to cooperate, and they're going to cut his time, because right now he's looking at 15 to life. With all the charges he has to, he won't get out till 70 years old. He about 70, that's when they start talking about letting him come to a halfway.
Other side, some have used this moment to reignite old grievances. 50 Cent, who rarely avoids controversy, has taken repeated shots at Jay-Z's refusal to take a DNA test. Through social media, he has turned the paternity case into a meme-filled spectacle. His jabs land not only as personal attacks, but also as signals to the industry that Jay-Z's shield of reverence is weakening. In an industry where perception often shapes business opportunities, ridicule from a rival of equal stature carries weight. It chips away at the aura of untouchability Jay-Z once enjoyed. Public mockery can shift the balance, making others reconsider their alliances. A single rival's voice can magnify doubts already circulating. The divided reactions reveal an unspoken calculation at play. Those choosing silence may be carefully weighing their own vulnerabilities. They recognize that if Jay-Z suffers a full-scale collapse, the impact could reach far beyond him. Ties and ventures that once felt secure could suddenly be questioned. The entertainment world is deeply interconnected, built on shared investments and private understandings. A downfall at the top tier can easily ripple outward, dragging down anyone too closely tied. Silence in this environment is less about indifference than about survival. Many seem to be betting the storm will pass without forcing them to pick sides.
How do you know I'm not a gangster? Or used to be a gangster? I've been in the music industry for 30 years.
Yeah, I mean, the industry is filled with gangsters.
Behind the scenes, another factor shaping reactions is influence. Jay-Z's network, built over decades, stretches into corporate partnerships, award committees, and philanthropic boards. Speaking out against him could risk not only personal relationships, but also profitable opportunities tied to those connections. The reach of his influence remains difficult to ignore. Industry veterans understand that such networks are not dismantled quickly. Even in the midst of scandal, power tends to maintain its pull. For many, distancing themselves outright could mean losing access to valuable circles that shape careers and business ventures. The decision is rarely simple. The hesitation to act is not only about loyalty, but also about fear of consequences. Public denouncement could bring retaliation or exclusion from opportunities connected to Jay-Z's orbit. For some, silence becomes a way to protect both reputation and access. This balance of risk is what keeps many on the sidelines.
I can only say as a father that I hope I instill with them the values that they would want to look for in a man. And I think I did when Beyonce wrote on her, I think it was her first album, maybe it was the second one, the song Daddy, that she hoped that she found someone just like her dad.
/15:04 The longer this divide lingers, the more it fuels speculation that the entertainment elite follow an unspoken pact. The idea is simple: protect one another, even if it comes at the cost of transparency. In that view, the silence of Jay-Z's allies looks less like caution and more like coordination. The goal is to avoid setting a precedent where private behavior turns into public liability. This fear raises a larger question: if Jay-Z falls, who might be next? That thought hangs heavily, like a warning across the industry. In a business built on image, decisions to step in or step back often come down to survival, not morality. The balance of protecting oneself versus showing loyalty is rarely straightforward. Still, the question remains whether Jay-Z's resources, influence, and cultural reach can shield him once again. History shows that powerful figures in this industry have survived multiple scandals. They were often supported by the same networks, now showing signs of strain. The difference this time is the scale of the pressure. This is no longer about one controversy, it's a multi-front challenge. It tests the endurance of legal teams, the loyalty of business partners, and the stability of his personal life. Just as importantly, it pushes against the patience of the public. And once that patience wears thin, rebuilding trust becomes nearly impossible.
How did you feel initially when Beyonce started dating Jay-Z, who is very successful, but he's also, generally considered a gangster rapper?
We are now at a moment that feels like a turning point. One path could see Jay-Z fight his way back, relying on wealth and influence to settle disputes, silence critics, and regain stability. The other path paints a much different picture: an empire breaking apart with assets lost, alliances weakened, and a legacy reshaped through courtroom records. Instead of music, the central question is whether this scandal will finally bring down one of the industry's most untouchable figures. Or will the same power and influence that built him allow him to escape once more? The answer could shape not just his future, but the broader culture of the music world. Share your thoughts below, because this is a story with the potential to redefine how power and accountability intersect in the industry. Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and keep watching closely. The next headline could drop at any moment.